How's it going, guys? In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things or 3 reasons why maybe you're not finishing your tracks. So, yeah, maybe you're getting to a point where your track's like 80% done and there's something not quite wrong, like not quite right with it, you're not feeling it, and then you just end up starting something new. If that sounds like you, then hopefully these 3 tips are going to help you out. So tip number 1 is you don't get rid of the sounds that aren't working. So as you're building your track and you're kind of stacking like the different sounds on top of each other, sometimes a sound that you put in early doors like might not quite be working with the rest of your track now, and as you're listening to it, you know something's not quite right, but you're not quite sure what it is. But yeah, you don't actually take the sounds away and just like listen to what it is specifically that you don't like anymore. So yeah, it's kind of a skill in itself, but you've kind of got to go through the process of putting the sound down first, and yeah, then at that point, once you've got stuff down, you kind of take the stuff away to like, so what you're left with is all the stuff that you like. So yeah, tip number 1 is kind of mastering the skill of taking things away. And the way that I would do that is literally like, once you've got your track and you've got a decent groove that you like, literally just turn stuff off. So just turn all the channels off, just start bringing things in one by one, and then there'll be a point where you're like, actually, yeah, when this sound comes in, like something doesn't quite sound right, or yeah, like, so maybe just leave that one out, turn the rest of the tracks on, and then yeah, do it that way. And then I would also like solo certain channels together. So like sometimes what you might not like is just, there might just be 2 channels that are like not working together. So solo those 2 channels together, listen to what's happening, and then yeah, see if you can figure out what it is that you need to fix with it. Tip number 2 is that you don't actually practice finishing tracks. So the way that I like to describe this is, let's say that you were like a striker in football, but you never actually practice like shooting goals. Like that's kind of what being an artist is like, and never actually finishing tracks. So like you'll get to the point where you've got the groove on, maybe you've even like written the track out, but you won't actually finish it. So that extra like little 10% or the little 15-20% that's left to actually get it finished, it kind of takes practice. So like the more times that you do it, the easier it gets. So like yeah, like there becomes a time where, like, I always think about it like the 80-20 rule. So for me, like, I can get to like a track 80% finished in like, do you know what I mean, a few hours or whatever. But a lot of the time, I'll spend more time like tweaking things and just like trying to get stuff to sound right than I will actually like laying all the sounds down. So yeah, actually practicing finishing your tracks, like that's tip number 2. So yeah, even if you're not quite feeling it, like, and you think there's something not quite right with it, just finish it, because you don't have to release it. Like, it's just for you to be like, yeah, that track's finished, it's the best I can get it, and this is what it sounds like. Because a lot of the time, if you finish it and you master it, and then when you listen to it 2 weeks later, you're like, actually, I don't know what was, do you know what I mean? I don't know why I didn't like that, and you might like it at that point. Like sometimes when you're getting like really like stuck in the music, and yeah, you're listening to it on repeat, you can just start hearing things differently. Whereas when you just step away and then you come back, and this also comes down to when I was first starting making music, I would even if I was watching like a tutorial or I was like trying to learn stuff, I would even stop watching the tutorials at like 80% through, because I'd think, oh, like, do you know what I mean? I don't need to know this bit, but it's it's the most important bit. So like, yeah, anytime you're like kind of learning or something, like don't kind of miss out on the like final little bits, because a lot of the time that's kind of what's going to make the big difference for you. So tip number 3 is you're not making music in a state of flow. So I'm going to go back to like the sport analogy for this one. So sometimes if you're not in the right frame of mind when you come like approaching, like you're making music and you sit down, like the ideas just won't come to you. So you've got to like allow the ideas to come and not like limit yourself by either what you think the track should sound like, or yeah, like you're just not allowing yourself to be creative, basically. So I went through a stage of like not even finishing any tracks because I wasn't like, I would maybe like put some notes in, or like put a drum pattern in, or maybe a like a little chord or something, and then I'd be like, oh no, I can't use that sound. Like my music wouldn't have that sound in it. But unless you put those sounds down to start with, you've got nothing to work from. So like a lot of the time, the way I work now, the sounds that I end up with are just a kind of little piece of a sound that I put down without thinking about it. So like, yeah, don't block yourself from making the music that you're supposed to make by thinking that, oh, hang on, like this sound isn't in any music that I like, so I'm not gonna put it in there. Like sometimes you kind of got to go through a little kind of phase of putting these sounds in, and then what you can get like after you've got that sound, like you can end up with your kind of finished product. So yeah, number 3 is kind of working from a state of flow and just allowing the kind of ideas to come to you without judging them in any way. Just put the sounds down. Obviously, once you sit back and like come back to it, if you're like, I don't like this sound anymore, then you go back to tip number 1 and it's just like, I don't like this sound, I'm going to take it out. So yeah, those are 3 tips that hopefully are going to help you out with your music making. If you've got any others or any kind of ways that you've worked around like writer's block, or kind of it's like something that you've been stuck with, drop them in the comments, and we'll discuss them in the next video. So hope this helped in some way, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Cheers guys.